It is the honeymoon capital of the world. At least that's what they say. Talking about Pocono, Pennsylvania, the Pocono Mountains, as we sit at the final round of the Sim 500 FEG Xfinity Series first round of the playoffs. A race that could be the biggest race for one of the top drivers in this league. We'll talk about that here in just a second. So many things to get into as we welcome you into the Pocono Raceway tonight virtually on iRacing, and we go racing here for 60 laps at the Tricky Triangle, 2.5 miles, 79 degrees, partly cloudy sky, 60 laps, 30 laps halfway. It is going to be a short, it is going to be a interesting and fun race as we get ready for the Sim 500 FEG Xfinity Series here on the Captain Esports Network. I am the Captain, Chris Scala. We welcome you to the track as we get ready to do some racing. Kind of a shortened pre-race show here. This usually I go on the air a little earlier, but unfortunately had a couple things had to take care of, but we got everything good and rolling smoothly here as we take a look at the point standings. Pedro Mojica, Tommy Ryan, Jimmy Coleman, Josh Adams, Chad Coleman right now, your top 5. The top 12 move on after tonight. Let's look down here at 16th. There is Daniel Falkingham. 11 wins, 13 top 5s, 13 top 10s. He missed last week's race at New Hampshire and had a bad race in the opening round. So now he sits roughly 30 points behind the cutoff position. And that is up there where Mike Kelly is. Daniel, if he goes out and dominates this race, there's a chance he doesn't make it to the second round. He's going to need some help. But that is going to be the driver to watch tonight, because he could find his way in to round number 2 in the round of 12 after tonight's race. So we'll be keeping an eye on Daniel and his progress this evening. Looking at the laps as we battle for the wheel, the Fanatec CSL Direct Drive wheel presented by Ford Entertainment Group. Josh Adams still continues to have that 2-lap lead over Chad Coleman, Charles Woods, Chuck Sweeting, and Pedro Mojica. Those 5 drivers are the only 5 drivers within 104 laps of each other. So that is where we sit right now in the standings. And some reason, oh, that's okay. Anyways, yeah, that's where we sit right now when it comes to that. I was trying to figure out why my my buttons aren't muting the people in chat, but that's okay. You guys won't be able to hear them, so we're okay. All right, so with that being said, let's go take a look at the starting lineup as qualifying just wrapped up. And look who's on the pole. Bada bing, bada boom, Daniel Falkingham. We just talked about him, and he is right there. P1 as they roll off, starting alongside Jimmy Coleman. Pedro Mojica will start row number 2 alongside Jose Gonzalez, Tyler Dalton, Chad Coleman. They'll have row number 3. I do note some of the drivers that are in the playoffs do not have a P next to their name for some reason on the grid, but when you see the ticker come up, it will have their name up there labeled in the with the P for playoffs. Richard Beasley in row number 4 alongside Bob Gillenwater. Eric Arnold, Mike Kelly will take row 5. John Mustian Jr., hopefully he's got his internet issues all cleaned up. He'll start there at row number 6 alongside Josh Adams. Row number 7, Joey Jatina alongside Kevin DeBrown. Let me back that up one row. There we go. In row number 7, Glenn Campbell, Mike Mondesi in row 8. Row 9, Ron Holyfield and Jeff Ryan. Brian Wertman, David Comstock there in row 10. Justin Fuller, the winner last week at New Hampshire. He'll start alongside Chuck Sweeting. Josh Parker making a return tonight, starting in his usual back spot alongside Charles Woods, who needs some help if he wants to move on in the playoff round. Row number 8, Anthony Calantoni and Tom Dreiling. And row number 9 is Steve Herring, Ed Burrell. In row 10 is Gerald Livingston. I'm looking over. It appears that Jeff Ryan and Jose Gonzalez did not grid. So that is going to be interesting to see as we come off of turn 4 into the green flag. Pace car is going to pull off, and we'll go 60 laps. As I mentioned, lap 80 is the halfway point. It's Pocono. It is the final race of round 1 of the playoffs. already. You see Coleman hitting that bump that's in turn one. That is a really serious one, to say the least. But our cameras, of course, tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. You can check them out online on Facebook and on the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com is their main website to get the cameras. The closest thing to real-life cameras you will see on iRacing broadcast. You see some cars getting dancy. Some people call the first lap or two around this track ice, because the tires aren't up to temp yet. So cold tires can play a role as they head to turn number 3. Remember, no 4 turns. That's Pocono Raceway. It's Kevin Brown. It's the first battle underneath. I believe that's Mike Kelly. They're in that 2 cars. They complete lap number 1. And apparently it's 70 laps, not 60. That was a modification. It happens. It's okay. So that's going to really make this strategy interesting now with the 10 laps extended. As Jose Gonzalez has jumped to the pit, so it looks like not a good start for him. Down the back straight away. The top 2, the usual top 2, it seems like. Fonky and Pedro Mojica, Jimmy Coleman there in 3rd, only about 2/10 off the back end of that 58 Tyler Dalton, Chad Coleman, as a matter of fact. All playoff drivers in the top 11 right now. Mike Kelly looking out on Richard Beasley down to turn 1. I was told the passing around here is pretty tough. That's what makes Pocono fun. This is a very fun track. I actually ran a C Open race earlier this week. Mentioned Kevin Brown. Here he is, the 93 car. Heard a little bit of talks of shifting potentially going on, especially in the long run. Turn 1, Mike Kelly inside of Beasley. Right there you see Richard get out of the gas. It's very tough up there because there's a bump that will really upset the handling of your car. Whoa, that's close. If you hit that thing right, it will send you packing up the track. As they work their way into the tunnel turn here, shaped like Indianapolis. 3 corners, 3 different bankings, and 3 different styles, and all marked after 3 different legendary open wheel tracks. As back in the 1960s when this track was built, it was originally built to be an open wheel track. It's a 56 of Josh Adams. Inside the 93. Josh not able to make that pass. I'm trying to research it all week. Who is Dubby? Somebody help me out. Or what is it? Laps in, you see Kevin making a move to the inside there. Pretty much everybody, for the most part, is single file. This is about the best fight on the track right here. As Kevin gets underneath Beasley again, is Adams and Arnold going to be able to draft with him, though? A little bump draft action there. Eric Arnold, Joey Gittini in the field, Mike Modesty back there. There's Justin Fuller, last week's winner, and that 51 car. Josh Parker there behind him in the 81. Justin put on a great race. Jimmy Coleman hanging in the third position right now. Right there behind Pedro Mojica. You see Daniel's kind of driven off a little bit. As I showed the points a little bit ago, Daniel does need some help to get to the next round of the playoffs. And just to kind of give you the heads up of what he needs to happen here, he is going to need basically, he's got to gain 15 positions on Ron Holyfield. Now, let's not forget we do have the halfway bonus. He has got to have the 10 points from halfway. He's got to get that. So let's knock that out of the park right now. He's already going to get a couple bonus points, I believe it's for leading the lap, if I remember correctly. And then he needs to get the 10 bonus points for the halfway leader. If he gets that, then it should get him right up there near the next position, which is Ron Holyfield. And then at that point, it comes down to how many positions can he gain over Charles Woods, over Kevin DeBrown, over Mike Kelly, plus the winner's bonus too at the end. So just looking at numbers and looking at the amount of drivers in the field, it's pretty close to impossible. But you never know, because that's the crazy thing about not knowing how many drivers are going to show up to a race. And when you're that far back, there's just no telling, basically, when it's all said and done. So I could be hyping something right now that potentially is impossible to be done. Might be out of the limits. He might be eliminated already. But because of the unknown, I'm making the race right now by 0.6 of a second over Pedro Mojica. So I'm bringing it out there and putting it in front of the viewers who are watching this evening that yes, we are watching the bubble between Fockingham, but with that said, there are other drivers there too at the same time that are battling for the 12th spot, which is the eliminator position for the playoffs tonight. So Mike Kelly, Kevin DeBrown, Charles Woods, Ron Holyfield, and Daniel Fockingham, those guys right now are on, they're below the bubble, I should say. Mike Kelly is the bubble person by 5 over Kevin DeBrown, and you see they're running right there next to each other in 7th and 8th. We're going to keep an eye on all that tonight, and I'm going to do the best I can to play the map here. So 9 laps in already out of the 70 in this race. And of course, this is the Ford Entertainment Group Xfinity Series. And of course, the Ford Entertainment Group specializes in sim racing and sim flight gaming machines with over 3,500 pieces built for sim racers and sim flight pilots. All FEG PCs come with front to back warranty on every part, as well as free labor. Everything is covered. PC. Pretty single file. This is like where the runs have been coming, right here. Like I'm watching literally on my telemetry that I have on my other computer. And this right here is where the passing and the battling's been happening. Right at the bubble spot, pretty much of the points is where these are all battling each other here. So you got Beasley, you've got Adams, you've got Brown, you've got Arnold. All battling for a position here. You got Mike Mondesi a couple positions back. He's side by side with Glenn Campbell, it looks like. Got Joey Jatina. Cameron's there behind him. Jatina hits that bump over the turn 1. So I'm trying to get you everything I can here. Position for him right now. Say this, a lot of quietness on the radio towards each other right now. I know last week there was a little bit of kind of comedy-like feel, but I think they realized tonight this is the pit window is right near lap 35, which is right the halfway point for the bonus. So that's another situation that could play a role here. Do you short pit this race so that you know you can make it a halfway? Contact there, Campbell and Mondesi, it looked like. Saw Campbell's car kind of jump in the air a little bit. There might have been some net code. Any damage on the 6 at least right now, so I'm assuming there's none on the 44 either. You see Kevin DeBrown back on the outside lane. Not really where you want to be, but if you can get off the corner and still hold that outside lane, you can draft your way back up. If they run somewhere around 180 miles an hour, 185 miles an hour down in the tunnel turn. And you're not supposed to be side by side there. You see Beasley getting loose. You see Eric Arnold getting loose. Great racing here so far. Apologize, unfortunately the Facebook side is not working, and I've come to learn if I don't get the broadcast started on time, which is a couple minutes late than 8:45 promise, then actually it will not start the Facebook side of things. So I got to work on that and figure out a solution to that problem, because usually when we are able to do that, we're able to get you on the Captain Esports Network Facebook, but then also over on the Sim 500 Facebook page. But I believe tonight Jimmy Coleman actually put a link over there and kind of helped me out. Check up here is Josh Adams trying to hold off Mike Kelly. This is the 7th position right now for him. Bob Gillenwater there in front of Tyler Dalton. Up here, your top 3. Top 4 actually, all within about a second and a half of each other here. So let's talk about this racetrack. As I mentioned, 3 corners, all different shapes and sizes. As they come off of turn 3, which is shaped off the Milwaukee Mile, all 6 degrees of banking in that corner. Then they go down what used to be one of the longest straightaways in NASCAR, but now with all the different tracks they've added on, I'm not so sure of it anymore. I think the Circuit of the Americas straightaway might be actually longer now. Turn 1, shaped after Trenton, which is 15 degrees of banking. That 14, I'm sorry. It was after the Trenton Speedway. That track no longer exists. Now it's down the Long Pond straightaway into the tunnel turn, which is 9 degrees of banking, like Indianapolis. And then the short shoot over to turn 3, as I mentioned, Milwaukee Mile, 6 degrees of banking. So, can you set up a perfect setup at this track? Probably not. So wherever somebody might be actually pretty good at, they might not be so good at it at the other corner and the other person is. So that's where you got to find kind of a compensation of where your car is good at. You hope the best corner you have is at turn 3, because that's where you go to the start-finish line. But you never know. Jose Gonzalez did get on track. He is a lap down right now. And hoping to get the lucky dog here if we get a caution. But the series does have good tendencies of having good green flag runs and low caution amounts. So there's a chance we go all the way without a yellow this evening. Continuing to be the hot spot right here is Eric Arnold underneath Josh Parker in the 81. As Jatina joins that battle now. Oh, contact! Parker's going to get spun around, and there's the caution. everybody's going to stay off the 81, and I guess you could chalk that caution up to me. And that's going to change things when it comes to the halfway point. Parker's going to wait for everybody to clear. Shall we call that the broadcaster's jinx? Why not? Watch the spin here at the 81 off the front end of the 31. Go down into the corner. Eric dives it in there, and Parker just comes down a little bit there, just kind of racing for the same piece of real estate. Nice job by Sweeting to stay off him. Solo car spin. Look at it one more time here for the leaders. Probably will come to pit road here for tires, I would think. Yeah, Eric, oh yeah, he sent it in there. Give an inch, take a mile. Here comes everyone to pit road. See who's out on the left over. It stayed out. I think it's Gonzalez. He'll get the wave around. We got another car back there going to stay out. That's Wortman. Traditional Brian Wortman move right there. This will be 4 tires and fuel for everybody. Let's see who launches out here. Of course, you won't see the pit crews at work. One of these days, maybe we'll get that chance here on iRacing. Race off pit road is going to be Daniels. Angel Mojico will be second. Tyler Dalton going to be third. It looks like Jimmy Coleman and Bob Gillenwater. The top 5, as I mentioned, Jose Gonzalez will get back on the lead lap after starting his race from the pits. He'll get the Lucky Dog Award, so that'll be good for him. And we're going to take a minute here. We'll step away and come back and get you the green flag here. We're just about a third distance in to this virtual Pocono Raceway in the FEG Xfinity series as you're watching the Captain Esports Network.
This is the world's premier online racing simulation. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat from your home computer with the most realistic online motorsports experience you'll find anywhere. Race virtually in the world's biggest events with officially licensed series, cars, and tracks. From the high banks of Daytona to the blistering speeds of Indianapolis, the dirt of Eldora to the world's most legendary road courses. It's all here, and with more than 180,000 people just like you already driving, you'll always have someone to race. Ready to get behind the wheel? Sign up at iRacing.com to get started.
All right, welcome back to the Captain Esports Network here at the virtual Pocono Raceway tonight in the Sim 500 Xfinity Series. After caution at number 1 on the track, a little tangle between Eric Arnold and the 81 of Josh Parker. Sends Josh into the grass of turn number 3. No contact outside of that, so everybody should move on here and outside of maybe some hurt feelings. Continue on with good racing here. So when we get done tonight here at the virtual Pocono Raceway, next Sunday will be Indianapolis, except they will run the oval at the Brickyard, so we'll run the traditional rectangle oval. I guess it's not an oval if it's a rectangle, but you get my point. We'll be there next week at 8:45 Eastern Time. As per usual, I'll be on the air somewhere around. But they're not qualified depending on if I get everything set up and everything good to go on time. All right, so as we come to the green flag off turn 3, Daniel Falkingham, Pedro Mojica, Tyler Dalton, Jimmy Coleman, Bob Gillenwater, your top 5. Mike Kelly, Chad Coleman, Richard Beasley, Justin Fuller, Joey Jatina, your 10th place car right now as we come to the green flag. 20 laps complete, 50 laps to go in the virtual Pocono Mountains as Falkingham leads them back to the green. Turn 1, Brian Workman on pit road. That's probably a black flag for him because he did pit it in the first entrance. And usually on these super speedways, if you do not pit on the first lap, it will black flag you for entering a closed pit. So that's probably what happened to Workman there. So it'll be a 40-second hold, so he'll probably lose a lap because of it. Tunnel turn, everybody got to take it easy as Gillenwater and Coleman go sideways. It's going to allow Coleman to go, Chad Coleman that is, to go by. Mike Kelly, Justin Fuller, all these guys in there. Oh, hold on, Mike. That Verizon car all kinds of sideways. That'll help Beasley, but he does have a little draft there behind him with the 51. Trying to get themselves sorted out. Looks like that first battle's right there, the 2 and 51. Take that position, at least on entrance, but on exit, not so much. Here comes a Mustang battle. Drag race down the short chute into turn 3. If you're a follower of NASCAR Casual on Facebook or on Twitter, very funny, by the way. He put out a post earlier this week that I could not help but laugh at. And of course, they kind of have the joke at Pocono of what turn 4. Well, if you break that up into an acronym, of course, I just lose terminology in my head. But if you break up what turn 4 is, so you see Chad Coleman slide up the track, opening the door. Jimmy Coleman's going to go by. Beasley going to go by. Well, when you break up the initials of what turn 4, it turns into WTF. That's perfect. They need to put that on the wall in turn 3. That was his post, basically. It was pretty funny. Oh, sideways back there. That might have been Josh Parker. Nope, it was Calantoni the day before. That red and black car there. Parker's in that little pack of cars, but Kyle and Tony had the thing all kinds of sideways. I joked last week and said his home track in New Hampshire. I would say this is probably more his home track, considering he's from Jersey, and Pocono's about an hour and a half or so from New York City. So and here these guys are back at it again. Oh, Jimmy on that bump again. Slides up the track, gonna open the door for Chad. No relation, just to clarify, in case Mike Kelly reminds me again. Trying to hold the outside on Coleman. That's going to open the door 3 wide down the short chute. They're going to try to hold on here, boys. Bang, bang. Are going to prevail to a point here. Don't see any damage on the car, so I think we're okay. But that was sketchy and close and scary at the same time. Sweeting there, and that Gator Racing 57. Going to get my Chad here, so 100 Chad might be just feeling out the car and see if he's okay. Back here, got some people getting a little feisty, I must say. Glenn Campbell back there in the 44, the 56 of Josh Adams, the 81 of Parker, and the 31 of Arnold. Type stuff. Hey, you would have heard that on the air, but I'm not playing that stuff. Put it like that. And so up front, there's Daniel Falkingham continuing to lead. He's led every green flag lap so far. He might have led every lap so far here. I'm not sure if Workman actually got a completed lap in the lead. He got across the start finish line, and the leaders are back to the pace car by the time Workman pitted, so I'm not sure if he did, but he is still on the lead lap. Ryan is up there 52 seconds back after his pit penalty. Mojica putting pressure on Daniel, and there's Tyler Dalton in third. Bob Gillenwater having a good run here, fourth position himself. There's old Bobby G. Time by the 56-1. Atkins trying to cross him up a little bit. You see Daniel up there trying to protect, trying to break a draft of Pedro Mojica, as Mojica's actually there. We could have a battle for the lead. Oh, Mojica hit that bump, slides up the track, and here comes Tyler Dalton. 19 car looking all feisty here. Got ever so close to that wall off too. Workman gonna jump out of the way. He drove that thing all the way down to Philadelphia to move out of the way of the leaders as the draft. The snake, as we call it, break it up a little bit here, but Pedro's going to try it again. That bump right there, it hurts every single time. And there's really not a way to miss it without losing a ton of time. Matter of fact, Workman's down there hitting manhole covers now, so be careful down there, Brian. Beasley, hold on. As they work their way into turn 3, this is a traffic jam back here. You got Coleman, you've got Calantoni, you got Parker, you got Adams. This is like where the action's been the whole entire night so far here in the first 29 laps. Pedro's gotten to the bottom side here of Daniel. Falkingham leads barely over the 58. The 19's right there. The 4 ready to pounce also. Pedro to the front off turn 1. That's our first green flag lead change of the night right here near halfway. 5 laps to go before the bonus points are given away. See Tyler Dalton now working his way underneath the 39. Gonna try to get the second position. Not sure if Daniel is saving tires or what he's got going on there. I'm not sure what's going on, but there is a mess of cars back here towards the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th positions. And there's some angry drivers, let's say, also in here. Back in this battle, a lot of playoff drivers fighting to try to stay in this top 12 right now as we're just shy of halfway. Went okay, Mr. Dave, as I didn't even plan on racing it until last night, as Falkingham has fallen down to 4th now. As I talked about, one of the things he needed to do for a miracle to happen was win the halfway bonus here, but I wonder if this is him saying, you know what, I ain't got a shot. I'm just going to try to win this race now, maybe. Or, you know what, actually, I see some right rear damage over there on the 39's right rear. Unless I'm seeing things. Oh, I can see all the messages, Dave. I just looked over and probably didn't answer. Actually finished 4th as a team. Like I said, I did not plan on running that race until like Saturday night when those guys went to run the first split, and they had issues, and it like mixed up the schedule of a lot of them, and they're like, and I just said to them, like, look, if you need me to, I'll go run laps. And I did okay. I didn't wreck the car. I finished 4th overall. As they come off turn 3 here, this will be the final lap before the halfway bonus comes out. Yeah, that right rear is damaged on that 39, so he's definitely lost a lot of side force, so that car is probably handling terrible right now. So we're going to have to go back and see if I can find what lap. And it must have been as Pedro went to the lead, or he got the wall or something. And here they come towards turn 3 off the final corner. Tyler Dalton shifts it to to 4th gear, but Mojica will get the 10 bonus points and lead it halfway. Dalton Gillenwater. Looks like Daniel Falkingham, Chuck Sweeting, Kevin DeBrown, Jimmy Coleman, Beasley, Jatina, and Glenn Campbell will get the bonus points from 10 to 1. So now the race is on. Get the max points you can. All right, let's jump back to the battle here. A couple playoff drivers is Eric Arnold, Anthony Calantoni. This is back at the 15th position here. And while we watch this battle, I'm scrolling through the replay board here on my screen to see where potentially the issue happened with our former leader. We're going to jump back here to lap 30. And here's the pass for the lead right here. As Mojica gets to his inside, side drafts him up there. There's the right rear damage is already there, so it's not here. It's happened before this. So I'm going to jump back here. Let's go back to lap 29 here. I'm going to find the damage on him. Oh, it's there too, so... This is what happens when you're the producer too. I gotta find everything. It looks like got the damage there already too, so either way, I think that damage is hurt. It looks like that right rear damage has hurt the 39 car. He's falling back even more, back to Chuck Sweeting, who's having a great run there in the top 5. Which, you know, the wall scrape you speak of, Dave, is, you know, these cars are pretty tough, these Xfinity cars. You know, being the composite body, so they're not easy to beat up on. So for a scrape like that to hurt the side force of that car and take away the handling, it's very interesting. He must have smacked that wall hard. As Justin Fuller's on pit road, you saw Jose Gonzalez up there battling to get his lap back in the 26 car. And unfortunately, I could not find the issues I heard earlier with Glenn Campbell, who was in a battle with Eric Arnold. I was going back trying to find that argy-bargy, as we would call it. Or as Calvin Fish would call it. Mondesi has come to pit road and jumped onto pit road, so not sure if he's taking his car behind the wall or not. But 6 car on pit road. Unscheduled pit stop there, likely. As Daniel under attack, here's Chuck Sweeting. Everybody's flirting with that turn 2 wall. I wonder, you know what? If I could find what lap it was, there was one lap where I watched the 39 as Pedro was right behind him. Oh, he gets loose there. It looked like maybe he had gotten the wall off turn 2. It was close. I didn't say anything about it. But I wonder if that's where maybe he did clip the wall and I thought he didn't. And you see, Sweeting's going to go by for the 4th position there. So Daniel, unfortunately, off the pace. Like real-life circumstances are going to cost him. He won the most races and the champion from last season to fall out here after round number 1. All right, Justin Fuller back on pit road for a second time. Not sure what's going on there with the 51, last week's winner at New Hampshire. It looks like he's taking his car behind the wall now, so some issues going on here in the middle part of this race at Pocono. Oh, and fucking him into the wall hard! And the second caution comes out. Wow, that's interesting, Dave. understand that, though. Let's see what happened to Daniel. I mean, all unfortunately has gone up in smoke here his season. He gets on those rumble strips down there in the bottom. That usually upsets the car, and he's already fighting it. He's fighting it, and no, this is going to hurt. And there are some interesting iRacing physics sometimes. The Pocono law of nature. Or we can call it the Geico law of nature here. You hit the Geico blue, you'll get sent backwards. Let's watch it again here. Yeah, so he hit those rumble strips. You travel down the interstate. Bam, right there. If you drive on the interstate, you got those little rumble strips that are on the outer edge of the interstate normally, like on the shoulder. Pocono has those on the inside there in the corner, and that's what he hit, and it upset the car. And unfortunately for the 39, that thing is roast. Second caution comes out, and now pit stops will open for the final time. It'll be likely the second set of tires these drivers will take, which will leave them one set to work with to the finish of this race. So if we go 10 or 15 laps here and we get within about 10 to 15 to go, I think it's really going to start to get interesting if we get another yellow in that area, because you might see some strategy come into play here, especially drivers that maybe aren't right now advancing into the second round, the round of 12. As everybody comes down. Campbell overshot his pit stall a little bit there. Saw the 44 backing up. Race off pit road. Mojica will get it. Bob Gillenwater is going to jump up to second. Tyler Dalton, not a good pit stop at all. To see, let's rewind back and see what happened to Tyler on his pit stall here. Did he looked okay as I was backing up? Enters smoothly. Right side tires on. Damage. Must be damage. That would be my guess there. So look at this interesting development. Jose Gonzalez, who just got back on the lead lap, has stayed out and is going to lead this race. Justin Fuller was going to maybe get the wave around here, but Gonzalez has blocked that from happening. We should get 1 degree in this time by. Jose Gonzalez will lead. I'm just listening to a little chat going on. So he last pitted at lap 35. So his lap tires are about 4 laps older, which actually will play a little bit of a difference here. So you could see the 26 lose a couple of spots here, maybe, potentially, and then maybe hold strong if they even out. But we'll see. Mojica second, Gillenwater third, Sweeting fourth, Kevin DeBrown fifth. Coleman, Dalton, Adams, Comstock, and Beasley are top 10. Let's start the points real quick as we entering this race. Chuck Sweeting was right there on the border, so he needs this finish. Otherwise, it's probably pretty tight right now. Kevin DeBrown, Charles Woods, and Mike Kelly 5 points ahead. So as I look at it, Kelly is ahead of Woods right now, and I'm looking for Mike Kelly right now. Mike Kelly's 14th, Woods is 15th, and Kevin DeBrown is up in 5th. So Brown would actually bump in if this race continues the way it is. As we go back green, it's time to turn it up. A group that I'm going to be broadcasting for here on Friday night starting next month in ARCA Series. We were talking a little bit, just getting to know each other. Friday night, I was hanging out with them for a few minutes, and they're like, "So, what do you do when you do the whole Turn It Up segment?" And I'm like, "Well, it depends. Sometimes I need a drink, and I'll go get a drink. Sometimes I'll sit here and just watch. Sometimes I gotta go to the bathroom. In this case of the day, I gotta drink. But the one thing you ever fear, and it's happened to me once so far, is I walk away to go get a drink and a costume comes out. And I always fear that can happen, but the good news is the leagues I broadcast for, I don't have to worry about that too often. They're all pretty good series that race pretty hard and clean, so I don't have to worry about wreck fest or anything like that. So it's good to know that I can trust to go walk away for a second, grab a drink, which thankfully which actually here in the next week or two, I'm going to have my refrigerator coming from my office at work because of some changes that are going on there. I'll be able to sit right here next to it. So I'm on a little refrigerator. So Tyler Dalton, who had his issues on pit road there, I believe he had some damage he must have had to fix. I can't confirm that because, as I said, I don't have a budget for anybody more than me. He is in the 19 car right there, was running in the top 5 all race long, and he now is struggling to get the positions back, battling 13th right now with Anthony Calantoni. Also, during the Turn It Up segment, you saw Kevin DeBrown has moved up to 2nd. So his quest to get into the second round is looking awfully good right now. As Arnold tries to stick a 3 wide, and there's the 44 Campbell. Them two have not been too happy with each other tonight. As they give each other plenty of room, there's Calantoni inside of Dalton now. He's going to hold on. Hands and feet on the wheel, young man. Good catch. Jose Gonzalez starting to now slide back through the field. I thought the tires might even out and he'd be okay after a few laps, but he is a lead for about 2 or 3 laps, and that car started to fall back into the pack now. So Speedy Gonzalez there into 26, struggling. Tina gets to his inside easily. There's the David Comstock Monster Energy Mobile. Biggest mover tonight so far in this race is the 57, Chuck Sweeting, up 19 positions. So Chuck has had a great run. And you're seeing tonight a couple of those drivers that are right on the bubble have come with their A game and are running in the top 5 right now. Kevin DeBrown, that 93 car. The 57 car is Sweeting, both those drivers right on that 12th place position. Josh Adams in the 56 car, and Josh Parker, remember, he was the first caution earlier in this race. He's now 5th. What a comeback by the 81 car. Steve Herring on pit road, unfortunately, the 98 car, unscheduled pit stop, I believe, there. And as you know, you're watching the Sim 500 Florida Entertainment Group Xfinity Series, which, of course, is brought to you by FEG. They specialize in sim racing and sim flight gaming machines. Over 3,500 PCs built for sim racers and sim flight pilots. All FEG PCs come with front-to-back warranty on every part, as well as free labor. Everything is covered PC. Of course, he's also given away that Fanatec CSL Direct Drive wheel to the person who completes the most laps this season. And that is being led by your 3rd place driver now, who just made the pass on 4th, Josh Adams, and at 56. Chuck Sweeting, actually one of the drivers he's trying to hold off for that battle right now. He has a 2-lap lead over Chad Coleman. As we are in race number 19 tonight, 7 races to go after tonight. And of course, the Brickyard sits there looming next Sunday night. Calantoni and Coleman here battling. This is the 12th position here. Tyler Dalton did finally get past the 84 car as he tries to work his way up. I remember as I was in practice tonight, I was hanging out with the drivers and talking with some of the teams, and had them telling me, man, it's tough to pass. I will not disagree with that. Oh, Campbell got that bump, so did Coleman. You see him slide to the track. That should allow Calantoni to complete this pass, at least on Campbell. Mojica is not totally out of the blue here. He's got Kevin DeBrown 2/10 back up here at the lead. Josh Adams is right there, and he's been one of the faster cars on the track. Matter of fact, he matched lap times a second ago with Mojica, both of them 56:39s. Parker 1 second back, so your top five all within a second of each other here with 16 laps to go. Remember last week in New Hampshire, the finish we had. Here comes Adams, the Phoenix winner from earlier this season. We have a little inside joke running with each other. If he were to win his second race of the season, he would throw a Danhausen paint scheme on. If you're not sure who Danhausen is, he's an AEW wrestler. He usually runs an AEW logo on his quarter panel. I don't see it tonight. Oh, trouble. Somebody camel's in the wall back there, I think, and turned or down the short chute. Cars had to scrap. How about this? I can't talk, and I talk for a living. Scatter is the word I'm looking for. Scatter for the ring out. Oh, yeah, there's a pancake on that car. Adding to the frustration of Coleman, or of Glenn Campbell. Right there. Well, I'll just rewind it back here. Oh yeah, right there. Caught the outside wall hard. Everybody just kind of scatters and gets around them. Up here, Parker, with help from Kevin DeBrown, who's fallen back a little bit to fifth now, gets the push into the corner. And Sweeten still at the corner panel. Things are cleared. So the 81 up to third now. Bob Gillenwater back there to fifth. Or sixth, I should say. Look at Comstock. You got Beasley back there. Mike Kelly in ninth. This is going to get very, very close now in the points. 14 to go. I'm just going to pull up the website real quickly here. I didn't get a chance to do the recap like I usually do of all the series. See, Kelly's up by 5 entering this race over Kevin DeBrown. And you look right now, there's literally 5 points separating the two of them. And then Charles Woods was 14th. And Chuck Sweeting's 11th. He's looking pretty good to be in. Let's see where Eric Arnold is running 14th right now. So there's a shot here that we see Eric Arnold fall out. It could happen here. Everybody else is holding pretty strong. And Tommy Ryan's actually going to be pretty close to 12th, but because he didn't make the race tonight. But I think he's going to be okay, it looks like. So it's going to be very interesting how this all ends up here at about 13 laps when this race. Oh, did Joey Jettina get the ball back there? See if we get a pancake on the 14. There's something there. On board with the 2 car, the Verizon Mike Kelly car. There's a shift. Would have not have thought you'd had shifting in the Xfinity car here. That kind of shocked me a little bit. Yeah, Tommy actually, I've got a decent amount of history with him. I remember when I worked my days over with GS SRC in the broadcast booth with them over there. He was in a league. Of course, I can't remember the name of it all of a sudden. But he ran his brother. Tyler Dalton was over there. James Pahula ran the league. That's where I first saw Tommy. And he's always been around places. It's like I get a call and I go look at the league. Oh, Tommy Ryan. There we go. Super professional, super cool with me. I've always enjoyed talking to him and getting a race with him. See Kelly make the pass on Beasley. Tyler Dalton going to follow him through. It's Tyler finally to top 10 again after his issue. But this has been a traditional type of Sim 500 race that if you've watched the last few weeks, you've come to expect 1 or 2 cautions here and there, and then it's gone green. And that's what we're looking at right now as we come off turn 3. And 10 laps to go for Pedro Mojica, who took the lead from Daniel Falkingham before his issues and has led all the way looking for his second win in 3 weeks. Of course, last week, if you didn't see the end of the New Hampshire race, he was running in the top 10 when the New Hampshire wall decided to reach out and grab him. And he finished, I believe it was like 14th or something in the end. But Josh Adams got him in his sights, looking to put that 56 in victory lane, about a half second back. Look at David Comstock coming through the field here, the 13. He's becoming good friends with Mike Kelly all of a sudden here, because look here as Kevin DeBrown is right in front of Mike Kelly. What I've always learned, when you're in a race like this in the playoffs, I learned this watching real racing, when I've been in my own playoff type of things. When you're in a battle and you've got a car threatening to pass you in the points, the best thing you can do is keep him in your sight. If you look at Mike Kelly, when you see that 30 or that 93 car right in front of you, guess what? Now it's like, okay, he can't pass me now. So if I'm Mike Kelly, if Kevin DeBrown logs out, if Kevin DeBrown goes to pit road, if Kevin DeBrown smacks the wall, you follow him. I know it sounds stupid, but that's what I'm doing. If Kevin DeBrown goes to the grocery store, you find out what town he lives in, you go to the grocery store with him. Eight laps to go. The only issue is if you do that, you got other people behind you. That's the one part you got to worry about there. What I'm looking at here, Eric Arnold, 12th position right now for him. With Kelly and Brown 7th and 8th, that's only about a 6-point separation. So right now, Eric Arnold is safe if he doesn't have an issue happen. Because Arnold is 11 points up on Kelly entering this race. And obviously with Brown behind Kelly, or just one spot in front of Kelly, but still only 5 spots ahead of Eric Arnold, it would still be about a 6-point separation. Of course, there are the bonus points in there from the halfway point, but he's going to need a lot more to happen to be able to make that pass. But you know, it wouldn't be racing if other things didn't happen in these 7 laps. Let's just leave it at that comment. Jose Gonzalez making his pit stop here. That's actually a scheduled stop for him. As Dalton going to lose a spot to Coleman and Eric Arnold. So Tyler's got the wall, it looks like. So turn 2, the tunnel's starting to bite some people. Well, if you're Mike Kelly, just go on by him. There you go. Pass that Kevin DeBrown probably never wanted to happen. DeBrown, though, he's going to follow back. To go. Mike hit that bump. I can only imagine the words that Kevin's saying right now in that car. There are words that I will never be able to say publicly on this microphone. Beasley get the wall back there to 10. Looks like he did. Real quickly, so we got 5 laps to go. I like to do that. Oh, who's that? Arnold getting the wall maybe off 3. Don't stop hitting things for a second. Tomorrow night, the North Carolina 811 Cup Series. They will be at Pocono. Make sure you join LSR TV for the broadcast of that one tomorrow night. Let's see, as I see it right now, Josh Parker winning at New Hampshire last Monday night, so congratulations to him on that. That'll be tomorrow night. Tuesday night, the Super Speedway Series. Joey Gittino winning at Michigan. Is that right, or is that a typo? Just saying. Now, congratulations, Joey, on the win there. That's on Tuesday nights. And then Wednesday night, the Trans Service Truck Series. Tommy Ryan winning at Dover last week. They'll be at the Iowa Speedway for 150 laps Wednesday night. And then the Midnight Thunder Series, they're going to be at Nashville Super Speedway Friday night for 100 laps of racing there. Jerry West, not the Lakers owner. That's right. Oh, Jerry West. That's the anyways, he won at Vegas. Congratulations to him. Four laps to go. Mojica leads it by a second over Josh Adams. And the battle on back here, Bob Gillenwater and Josh Parker. And David Comstock, who has roared up through the field. Look at that, 3 wide back there. Chad Coleman, Tyler Dalton, and it's Eric Arnold in that 31 car with 3 laps to go. As Mike Kelly getting past Josh Parker. So Parker's starting to fall back now in that 81 car. As Mojica brings it off of turn 3, he'll see 2 laps to go. Most of this season, Pedro has had to live with being the runner-up to Daniel Falkingham like every week. And by the way, I do want to correct something. Justin Fuller finished second last week to Brian Macklin. So, I kept saying he won last week. He actually finished second, so my bad on that one. But going back to Pedro, he has lived with finishing second to Daniel Falkingham pretty much all season long, all the way up to race number 11 in May when he went to victory lane at Nashville. Then he went to victory lane at Charlotte the following week. Then it was back to Daniel winning races. Then Macklin wins at Daytona. And then into July, it was Pedro Mojica winning at Atlanta. And, of course, Macklin winning last week at New Hampshire. Now, off turn number 3, it's going to be the final lap for Pedro Mojica. Might be hitting his stride here at the right time. 2.5 miles to go around the triangle. With the elimination of Daniel Falkingham from the playoffs after today, it's officially, I think, Pedro Mojica's championship to lose now. The rest of the way as Parker's on pit road. tunnel turn as we see Calantoni and Brown battle. Brown's going to give it up. Maybe not so much, because Calantoni almost got the wall off too. And off turn number 3, it's Pedro Mojica. 4th win of the season and a win at Pocono. Adams sweeting your top 3. And Mike Kelly, pending on bonus points, should be the 12th and final driver into the second round. Of the playoffs. Eric Arnold ends up 11th. So it looks like officially the drivers eliminated today: Josh Parker, E.J. O'Rourke, Daniel Falkingham, Ron Holyfield, Charles Woods, and likely Kevin DeBrown. But for Mojica's 4th win of the season, 2nd win of round 1. Tap out tuning number 58, going to get some burnouts in. Good news here is nobody will fail due to their car being too high or too low or whatever. As we take a look at the finishing order, I won't spoil the race in case anybody's not watching. I'm just going to put that out there. All right, Pedro Mojica wins it by 1.1 second over Josh Adams. Chuck Sweeting, David Comstock comes back to 4th. Great run for him, up 16 positions. I have to see where he restarted this race. Bob Gillenwater finishes 5th. Mike Kelly, 6th. That should be good enough to move him on to the round of 12. Calantoni, 7th. Kevin DeBrown, 8th. Jimmy Coleman, 9th. Tyler Dalton, 10th. Eric Arnold, 11th. Chad Coleman, 12th. Tom Dreiling, 13th. Joey Jatina, 14th. And Charles Woods, 15th. Glenn Campbell, 16th. Richard Beasley, 17th. Gerald Livingston finishing in the 18th position. 19th going to Ed Burrell. Ron Holyfield finishing 20th. Brian Wertman, 21st. Jeff Ryan, 22nd. Jose Gonzalez, 23rd. Josh Parker, 24th. And Steve Herring, 25th. The rest of these cars had issues. Fuller, Falkingham, Mike Modesty. In the 28th position, John Mustin Jr. Hopefully he did not have issues again with his internet. If so, I feel terrible for that man, because he's had some rough luck here in the last couple of weeks. All right, so let's I'm going to do this really quickly. I'm going to throw my overlay over the screen real quick. I need to jump into iRacing, but for some reason, oh, I think I know why, because I made the change. That's all right. So I ran the spa race, as you might have heard me talk about a couple times here, and I actually changed what is usually my mute button on iRacing was my flashing button last night with people in my way with my lights. So let me go and fix that really quickly. That can mute chat. There we go. And I can come back and talk. I was wondering why. I was trying to mute them earlier when I was doing the introduction to the broadcast. All right, so now let's talk to the top 3 drivers. That's Chuck's right there in the waiting room waiting on me, man. Chuck's waiting. Great job tonight. I know you were kind of up against the bubble there a little bit, had that pressure on you, and you did the probably easier thing to do, and that was control your own race and get yourself a top 3 finish tonight. Congratulations.
Stay safe the first half, and then start digging after that. And got up to 3rd. That's a pretty good night for us. A few of the faster guys had some trouble, but we stayed out of trouble and brought it home 3rd. So I'm happy with that.
I would say you or I, we haven't really talked too much. If not, this might be the first time we've talked. I can't totally remember this season, but you've been very consistent. You're obviously one of those drivers up there at the top. I think you've had one bad week when it comes to laps ran. You're up there battling for that wheel right now from FEG, but your consistency has been there pretty much all season long. When in your mindset does that change? Is that this round coming up that it's like, okay, I might have to go win a race here or get more of these top three finishes?
If I can continue on with what I've done tonight, then we might do pretty well. But it's pretty competitive league, very competitive league, and top fives are very hard to come by for guys like me. So yeah, we'll keep digging and put in a little practice and go after it again in the next race.
Well, the good news is you have a track that we're going to next week that, I mean, it's a little different shape wise, but I mean, it's roughly 500 miles west of this track that's 2.5 miles too. You feel like you can carry the momentum there?
Yeah, I hope so. Pretty decent there. So we'll see. Tonight the setup kind of suited me, and we'll see what we have next week and what the weather's like and what have you. But hopefully we can just do the same thing, stay out of trouble for half the race, and then start digging and try to work our way up front and get a good finish.
Well, great job tonight, Chuck. Shout out to whoever you like to, bud.
Yeah, I just want to thank FEG for sponsoring the series and every all the admins and everything with 7500. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and it's a thankless job. And just want to let them know I appreciate it. I appreciate them having me, and look forward to the rest of the season.
Great job, Chuck, man. Congratulations on your third place. Congrats on moving to the second round, and wish you the best there.
All right, thanks a lot.
Chuck Sweeting, the third place finisher tonight, and on to the second round of the playoffs after a third place finish here tonight. As we get to Josh Adams, who finishes in the second position. Is Josh even on Discord here? Let me look. Sometimes I have a hard time finding people. Well, yeah, I don't see Josh here. Josh, congratulations if you hear me. Let's move to the winner. I don't know what else to say. He's not pulling a drift, at least. Let's get our winner and bring him up here to the booth with us. The hottest driver potentially in this league right now is Pedro Mojica, and Pedro joins us up here in the booth. Pedro, congratulations on the fourth win of the season for you. Obviously, your teammate unfortunately out now, so I hate to say that the stove just got turned to high on you. Pressure's on. It looks like as you might be the driver to beat the rest of the way. You feel that way as you get the win tonight?
I try not to feel anyway. I just try to go out and win every race I can, and every week's a new week, and try to win that race. So I try to just have that mindset for each week. So no, I mean, Chris, like we've we've had a really remarkable season, um, which it's incredible to this amount of second place finishes and first place finishes and just top fives, top tens we've had this season. Um, So yeah, when you look at that stat, then yeah, you would think I'm the favorite moving forward. But I mean, you never know, man. It's the next round I could have a bunch of bad luck happen. You just never know, right? And there's a lot of factors that play into it. So I just try to stay humble, man. There's a lot of good guys in here, week in and week out, and they're right there, biting at the bit. So they're not far off. So yeah, man, you just never know. So I just, like I said, just being humble and taking it a week at a time and just trying to figure out how to win a race, each race every week. So
Yeah, that's a fair way of putting it. And I don't want to be the arrogant, cocky sounding one and saying I'm the guy because I'm the guy behind Pedro here. But I mean, the only other series I've broadcasted here so far in Sim 500 was a Super Speedway series that you won the championship for.
yeah, maybe it's something with you broadcasting giving me luck. I don't know. So if that's the case, if this pans out and we win the championship, I'm gonna have to ask Joey to make sure you broadcast the series I'm in.
I just hope that it doesn't come down to one of those things where, like, if you lose the championship, there's a lawsuit. So I might need to send some paperwork your way. I'm just going to throw that out there now. But no, in all seriousness, talk about the race tonight because I knew you and Daniel had a great battle. It looked like he might have scraped up his right rear. I was trying to look for it when it happened, but it seemed like his car just lost side force and fell off the map. And you were able to take off and work the strategy out to hold the lead.
Yeah, so yeah, Daniel was a little bit faster for sure. The biggest thing was just trying to manage the tires. The setup got really, really tight after 15 laps. It was like plowing the wall down tight. And unfortunately, Daniel had a slip up late exit of 3 and caught the wall, and it destroyed his car. And I mean, pretty much like he was able to hold on, but eventually I got to him and got around him. Biggest thing that was hindering him was just his straightaway speed, especially the last 3 quarters of the straightaway. He just had no speed versus us who didn't have damage. Um, so yeah, it was a tough break for Daniel. I know he was doing everything he could to win to get the stage points, lead the most laps, win the race, so he could get maximum points and maybe by a sliver of hope make the next round. So that was unfortunate, but he'll be here every week and he's gonna always be the one to beat. He's really hard to beat and he's really good. So, but yeah, man. I mean, it was a tough race for sure. I think that last run especially, I was just trying to manage keeping the lead because I didn't want to be in dirty air,
Right.
and I know Kevin Brown was trying to get the lead. He's trying to get as many positions as he can because he was right there on the cutoff. But through team communication, he would fall off a little bit harder than I did. So I didn't want to get in a situation where I was behind him, having to try to pass him while he was like as he wore out his tires more than I did. So I pushed harder than I wanted to there at the start of that last run, and just once I kind of got a gap, the biggest thing I just told myself was just manage corner exit because a lot of radio chatter in our channel. It sounded like a lot of people plowed the wall down there at the end of the race. So I figured if I didn't do that, I probably was going to have a good chance of winning this race. And so we did that and were able to save the fenders on the car and pull out our fourth victory, which was great.
Absolutely, man. Well, great job tonight. Congratulations on the win. Shout out to whoever you like to, buddy.
Tap out tuning, V Performance Academy on the car, Michael Sharp Racing. Appreciate you guys for being on the car. Glad I could give you guys good representation in this series. So appreciate the support. I wouldn't be here without you guys. Trey Edson for painting the car. Appreciate you for doing that, buddy. Uh, FEG for sponsoring the series. That prize is coming down to the wire. I think that's probably just as exciting to watch and see what happens every week um, than the championship. So no, that's cool that those guys do that. So appreciate them for doing that and sponsoring the series. Uh, Joey and Jimmy Coleman for running the series and all the admins just for running Sim 500. Appreciate their work, what they put in to make the series fun and enjoyable. And Chris, appreciate you putting on the broadcast, man. I think you do a great job, and hopefully put a show on for the fans. And then everybody on Team Name, I appreciate the camaraderie we got. It's a lot of fun working with those guys and racing with them hard, as you saw. So, but we could do that with each other because we have a lot of respect for each other. And we know how talented we are. So a lot of fun.
Well, great job tonight. Congratulations, and go celebrate with the team.
All right, thanks.
Absolutely. Pedro Mojica, fourth win of the season as he wins here at the Pocono Raceway tonight. Congratulations to him, leading the most laps, I believe, when it was all over with this evening. And definitely great to see when it is the end of the race and stuff. It's great to see these drivers who work so hard to get in victory lane doing so. And this is not an easy series to win in. It is not, something that's given to you. There's a reason why the guys hang around. They get these good crowds every week of 25 to 35 cars. And those, the best ones, go to work every week to try to win. They do it every night, pretty much. As you hear me do the recaps of Sim 500 races throughout the season, it's easy to think, hey, the league crowd's going to shrink. But when you see almost 7 nights of racing broadcasted on different channels and you see in 25 plus guys every week, this league's got something going on. So congratulations to everybody tonight, to Joey and to Jimmy Coleman and those guys for all their hard work. Also, as we move on to Indianapolis next week in the round of 12, we'll be here at 8:45 or so Eastern time as we get ready to go racing from the Brickyard. That should be a pretty interesting race. And what I will do before I sign off, let me see if the points got updated. They did. Points are already updated. Look at these people on the buttons here. All right, so yep, I was correct. It is Kevin DeBrown, unfortunately, that will fall out of the playoffs in the end. So it's Kevin DeBrown, Charles Woods, Ron Holyfield, Daniel Falkingham, Josh Parker, EJ O'Rourke out of the playoffs. So next week we'll see 12 drivers: Pedro Mojica, Josh Adams, Chad Coleman, Bob Gillenwater, Mike Kelly, Tommy Ryan, Anthony Calantoni, Tyler Dalton, Chuck Sweeting, Jimmy Coleman, Eric Arnold, and Richard Beasley running for the championship for the round of 12. 3 races, which consist of Indianapolis for round number 1. Round number 2 will be at the Michigan International Speedway, and round number 3 at Talladega. Holy Speedway racing. We're going to have some fun here in this next. As a matter of fact, Brian Wortman brought this up to me, and it's something to think about here. 5 of the next 6 races: Indianapolis, Michigan, Talladega, Vegas, and Homestead. All Speedway racing. So it's going to be very interesting if somebody can get out there and lead all the laps. Could be wild, especially that Talladega race as it ends the round of 12. So, all right, I'm going to stop rambling. I'll get off and let everybody enjoy their Sunday night. I hear thunder in my background, so that might not be such a good thing either. But let's get out of here. And always remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!